Wait, not live. Hi, everybody. I don't know if it's actually live yet or not, because one says it is and one says it doesn't, but welcome to Bodacity's Ask the Experts. I'm Jannette Anderson from bodacity.ca. And just in case it's just going live now, I'm going to say that again. This is Jannette Anderson from bodacity.ca, and welcome to Bodacity's Asks the Experts. I am here live and in person with the one and only MaryFrances Barbisan. She had this brilliant idea. She said, you know, you live in Calgary, I live in Calgary, we live like 10, well, maybe 20 blocks away. Yeah. How about if I come over and do it live instead of virtual? What a concept, huh? Actually get together with people? It's a thing.
Nose to nose.
Yes, exactly. So we are going to be talking today as part of the Claim Your Body Wellness from the Inside Out theme for this month. One of the reasons why I wanted to ask MaryFrances about that is because she's helped me with my body in terms of some of her cranial sacral healing work, but she's also a very Jewishly wild woman who supports me and other women in really coming back into our bodies and really coming back home, which is where wellness can exist if it does exist. So let me tell you her official bio, and then we'll get into it and get all juicy. Okay, so I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
So MaryFrances Barbisan R.N. has for over 30 years developed expert wellness practices. And she's renowned for enlivening women to let go and embrace more juicy pleasure and joy in life. As a registered nurse, healer, coach, and yes, even a sommelier, she inspires and teaches women how to unwind from the hustle and grind of man mode and ignite the wild woman within. So we'll be talking about man mode and what that looks like later. She believes that a woman can unleash a wild love affair with her own life, I'm going to add, and her own body, and live richly according to her own divine design with the right tools and supports, such as the life-changing private sessions, group sessions, and luxurious destination retreats that MaryFrances offers. She, as the founder and host of the Wild Women and Wine Show, MaryFrances inspires her audiences with a real conversation about life, love, and the lusciousness of it all over a fine glass of wine, which helps with everything. For the deliciously discerning woman who desires more.
Oh, I just feel all juicy.
I know, it does. It makes you all juicy, doesn't it? All right, so part of the conversation that I wanted to have with you is how you got to this point in this journey, this part of your journey. But that's the official bio. Tell us something about you that we wouldn't guess or wouldn't know. I asked her this earlier and she said,
I don't know that question.
Yeah. Okay, so what would people not guess? What do I not know about you?
When I turned 50.
Yes.
I wanted to do something outrageous,
incredible,
extraordinary, and I did not want to jump out of an airplane, and I will never bungee jump. I thought, what can I do? What can I do? And there was this spin studio that had opened in the neighborhood, and I had some friends I discovered were cycling. Now, I hadn't been on my bicycle since I was a kid with my paper route at 12 years old. And I decided I was going to get back on a bicycle. Okay. And my goal was to be in my body and to be so fit and to get on a bike and do this famous event, 3 days, out in the mountains called the Golden Triangle. Holy crap. I got in my body, made a decision that this is what I wanted to do for the extraordinary, and rode my bike, and I've been riding my road bike ever since, and I've done all kinds of events, and most people don't know that this kind of
came out of 50 and
that
I want to do something outrageous.
Outrageous. Cool. And you know, I don't have the body that's that athletic, slim, cycling, tall person. And I just really prove every day that we can in our body do anything that makes us feel enjoyment.
Cool. Not only does she do that and cycle all over the place, but she also takes a whole bunch of women with her. She organized her own bike group because, you know, as you do, you don't want to go by yourself. So what are they called?
That was it. It's Babes on Bikes.
Babes on Bikes,
and
right?
It's a Facebook group where a whole bunch of us middle-aged women and magnificent men, they love to hang out.
Oh, no doubt.
And but these great men are also married to my great girlfriends. So we're really blessed to have this community where we get out, have some fun, feel support. And the fast riders can go 2 loops and we'll just go the regular route. And it's fun. It's in our body. It's in our breath. boom, and on a bike seat, you're in your hips, you're in your lower body.
Yes. Well, I would be in the pain in my butt because that's what I would be experiencing, but yeah, that's close to my hips. Okay, so let's talk about, I know you really love doing your wild woman weekends and retreats and so forth. So let's start with, what is a wild woman?
A wild woman is the one that knows deep inside there's this seed, there's this spark, there's this essence that wants to unfold, to ignite, to explore, to be more, to have more experiences. And where we are in that expression, there's always more. There's always more fun. There's always more vitality. So it's that place that wants to awaken.
Okay. So why do we need to be wild women? Because there's all sorts of women out there who are going, wild, just a bit too wild. And I have laundry to do. I can't be wild. So why do women need to be wild?
So as we ignite more of our own essence, our self-expression of what actually turns us on. Because doing the laundry is duty, it's to-do list. It's one more thing in the to-do list. And when we're wanting to ignite health, vitality, wellness, right? And as a nurse for all these years, I've literally had my hands on thousands of women. And as we move away from the rigidity of some of that stuff and ignite this other perspective, energy goes up, awareness goes up, there's more fun, there's more enjoyment. And our body reflects that.
Okay. So what are some of the health benefits of coming back into your body? Because, I quite honestly, part of my journey lately, going to Mama Gina's and doing the work that I'm doing and coming to your workshop, has been about getting back to my body, because I've been living from here up. I've been very, frank with everybody on this. And coming back into my body, it's not actually all that hospitable a place. There's actually quite a bit of pain here, and limitation and frustration. And so getting back to my body, not really all that exciting.
Like, who wants to do that?
Yeah, seriously, kind of sucks.
It does. Yet there's this yearning in almost every woman that I speak to. And you're an example. You've been on this journey because there's something inside you that has sparked this conversation this month about the body, about the work that you're doing. And what happens is when we're from here to here, our stress levels go up. Hormone levels are different. And for many of, at least me and you, we're in the middle of life somewhere, things are changing. So the stress hormones are like the bullies. And that's what has taken over the system. And they punt out all the pleasure. They punt out all those beautiful, juicy hormones in the biochemistry that allow us to relax, to breathe, to sleep through the night.
What a thought.
What a thought. If a woman sleeps through the night, she is a transformed person the next day. So when we've got this hormonal rage going on that's out of control because of habits, bad habits, and a life that we think we're supposed to do, we suffer lack of sleep. So then our digestive system tightens up, isn't absorbing nutrients. We get bloated, we get fat, we get no fun.
Pain.
Yuck.
The lack of energy. I'm just going from a personal list here. Inability to focus, brain fog.
So when we come home, we're actually re-strategizing the old patterns to allow us to pay attention. And from a health perspective, from a nurse's perspective, it doesn't just get you. So when we're aware of our body, the condition, the disease, the symptom is noticed way before. So we have this awareness going, something's off. Perhaps I can look into that. And the awareness is a preventative piece as well.
Yeah, and as you know, most of us will cop to, most of us don't live in our bodies. We live out of our body, in the past, in the future, in our head, sometimes in limited bands of emotions like anger or rage. Many women live in that quite a bit. What's one of the best ways to shift into giving ourselves permission to come back home? Permission for pleasure.
This is so big. There's so many layers.
Yeah.
Because believe me, my mama and her mama never had a conversation on how do we give ourselves permission? How do we simply allow? So the energy of simply saying, I allow, actually opens up an energetic field of possibility. So we're allowing sort of the co-creative forces to move in towards our desires.
Okay. So how do you do that? Like, that sounds good, and I love it.
It does.
But what's the real practical people on here? How do you do that? I know.
Well, you have to acknowledge what it is you desire, and you have to actually say, I am giving myself permission for this time. So you can say it if you're a verbal, you can write it. And here's the piece that I think is the big piece. We can do a lot of self-care stuff. And I don't think that's the problem anymore. I think we're deficient not in self-care, we're deficient in community care. So the piece is when you're surrounded in a community, lovingly, powerfully so, the permission is almost granted by being together. And you've got this collaborative now going, well, okay, she's given herself this. And it's a movement that actually raises us all. And I really think that's the missing piece.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Missing community care. And that's another place we can go to practice this art of permission.
And I'm going to add here, because I think this is an important distinction. Community care does not mean you're caring for your community and your friends and your family. It means, because that's what most of us do. And
thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah.
Here's a word that has bothered me, because I grew up the firstborn. I can get her done and take care of literally everything, the nurse, etc. And I grew up with brothers. So the word sisterhood actually creeped me out. Sisterhood, ew. It was like, I didn't get it. I had brothers, and community was, ooh, that's a religion. But what I've come to understand in the experience of sisterhood, true energetic alliances, where you're not the leader or the follower, and in this realm of practicing some feminine arts, we start to unwind the stories that have held us back from saying yes to ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have to create permission for other women to brag, to say yes to themselves, to shine, in order to give ourselves room for us to do that too.
And it's a practice.
Absolutely.
And every time we do a little bit of a practice in this connection, it's wonderful. Magic happens. And it's like I always imagine, have you ever run through, as a kid, the screen door and a slide? Anyways, it's like, and we're up against this kind of grid. And I find that it allows space, and then we can start seeing through and moving that gridlock away through the practice. Yeah,
practice with a supportive environment, which is part of why we've added bragging as a component of what we do in Bodacity. It's certainly a big part of Regina Thomas-Shower's work in Mama Gina's School of Womanly Arts. I know it's something that you do really big in your workshops and retreats and so forth, is just being willing to say, I rock because, or I rock, period.
I brag that I'm with Jannette on the Bodacity show. Like, that's what I'm going to say tonight when someone says, what's up? It's being able to self-celebrate. That has never, for us women in this age, ever been taught. It has never been given to us as a strategy.
Supported, endorsed,
everything.
condoned.
It was, be good, be quiet, be seen, not heard. And it is an old world. But it's still in our life. It's in our upbringing. So the brag is self-celebration. And as we dismantle this limiting space, we give ourselves more permission to show up, to be real, and our bodies, all of a sudden, these delicious hormones, I'm not going to get into the biochemistry because who cares, start to arise. And our body just, that feels so good. And we start to awaken this lovely, luscious, lusty self. And that vitality is the key to anti-aging.
Absolutely. Because you would never know, but she's 97. No, never know, right? Okay, so you said earlier, and this is where I think a lot of people struggle, a lot of women struggle, and I literally just came from a meeting with a coaching client where we had this entire conversation around permission to have our desires, permission to give ourselves permission to say, yes, it's okay for me to follow my pleasure, yes, it's okay for me to have pleasure. And I said, so, what are some things that you want? And she, like many women, just looked at me blankly and went, I don't know.
I love that question.
Yeah. So, and I think even beyond what do you want, when someone says, what do you desire? There's even a deeper level.
Desire has an expansiveness to it.
And it seems deeper and should be kind of
crazy and out of this world.
Yeah.
You know,
which it doesn't have to be. A desire can be something simple, like a desire to wake up pain-free, or desire to have a delicious
served Italian espresso on a cliff overlooking the sea in Italy with a vineyard behind me.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But it's allowing your imagination to. Again, we bring up these luscious hormones that allow a different possibility for your life.
Right. So, what are some ways for women to practically and tactically access their desires? How do we tap into what might bring us pleasure when most people have no history with giving themselves permission for pleasure?
We start. And I often say, whatever's going on in the buzz of your head, I just say, almost like a prayer, who does it belong to? We don't answer it. We just go, who does that belong to? Literally as an incantation almost, because this is coming from generations, culture, society, upbringing, the patriarchal sort of mindset. And if we understand that all of what's holding us behind doesn't even belong to us. We have been preloaded, factory loaded with a certain set of ways of being.
Yep.
Okay, so now we got the basic factory car and we want to up level the stereo. Oh, I want leather and I want plush and I want an extra this and that. So how do we up level that car?
Yeah.
Is through actually dreaming it up. So every woman, if I said, here's your basic factory loaded car, what else do you want? Could probably go there.
Yep.
Right? So we imagine that. Oh, I really want the sunroof on my car.
Yes.
Right? So we just keep asking questions.
Okay.
And we start small and we start using little analogies. And to start looking for the evidence of what's in your life already.
Yes, that's a big one, because gratitude leads to pleasure, which leads to more pleasure, which leads to gratitude. That's a self-fulfilling cycle too.
And also paying attention to what is in your world. You know, my little balcony is loaded with plants and herbs and growing things. The pleasure of getting my hands in the dirt.
Right.
I acknowledge it and I'm aware of that. And I thought, I'd like to see some herbs in another country, perhaps. Sunlight. Okay. And it's an allowing and it's a step by step.
Cool. So, okay, so part of it is permission and just literally giving yourself permission. Some of it is noticing, I heard in part of what you were saying, noticing the voices in your head that may be distractions and maybe the chatter of who do you think you are and you don't have time for that and you don't deserve it, blah, blah, blah. Just letting that go.
Because it's not ours.
Yeah.
It's not you.
Whose is that?
Yeah.
See, my version of that mantra is not my monkey, not my circus. Not my monkey, not my circus. Away you go.
Well, when I think I couldn't write, I actually had a memory and some quiet time. Because we do need some quiet time from the busyness of life. And it was literally my grade 3 teacher telling me I failed my writing story. Story. I'm a kid.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, who does that belong to my grade 3 teacher? We'll let her have that.
Yeah.
And it sets, again, more space for me to show up.
Yeah. And create a new experience, a new belief, a new choice. Because just because the voice is in your head doesn't mean it's your voice. That's what we're saying here.
Yes.
Okay, in fact, it almost never is, because most of those voices got installed when we were young. Okay, so give yourself permission consciously. Notice the detracting voices and give them permission to leave or assign them whoever they are and not claim it as their own. But and I love what you said about the start small. So if pausing for a dance break for 2 minutes would be pleasurable, or even if you don't know if it would be, just to try it, to start small with little yeses to things that occur to you, or that other people suggest, or that you even just kind of notionally think, okay, well, someone probably thinks that's pleasurable, so I'll try it. So permission for yeses, more yeses, and to try things and to ease into it. You don't have to start with the, perspective over the Tuscan hills with all of that. And exactly. And for some of us, we actually need permission to break out by going big. So the little incremental things, not for us. It's like, I'm going to jump into the deep end. And so where in your life have you done something that was one of those big yeses? Like your Italy trip, perhaps? But a big yes where you said, this is what I want, and you did it.
Okay. was it 5 years ago? It's Calgary winter, and it's like, I got to get out of town. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I want it really, really nice, really beautiful. And it just, I'm going to bring clients to Mexico. It was just like, I had no experience, no expertise. It was a decision that I got to get out of town. I need sunlight. I need some freedom to explore. I need to be in private, beautiful nature. No fancy dance clubs and whatnot. And I thought, I can't be the only woman. There's
who wants this?
Who wants this sanctuary, this pleasure. And that is where igniting the journey of pleasure really began. Because nature, to be in nature, and to watch Mother Nature, or the goddess of the sky, every night on the Pacific side, painting literally a show for me. And whether someone's looking at it this way or you look at it that way, the beauty of nature for me really ignited this journey of pleasure. Oh, and then the little hummingbirds would come, and the flowers that would bloom, and the little turtles that, and this to me was the beginning of, so nature and the sensory journey. So my big leap in was going, darn it, I'm taking women with me. And I sent a check off to this place, and hadn't sold a ticket yet. And I thought, well, it's in the mail. And anyways, it was the daringness of that leap that actually brought the conspiracy of whatever that makes things happen. Happen.
Okay, so two things in there that are brilliant that I want to talk about further. One is you asked yourself some brilliant questions, which I want to come back to because we were talking about that earlier before we got on here. And the second is you were talking about how you made the leap. So you just made the leap, but you didn't just make the leap. How did you find the courage to step into something that you had conscious and confidence about, had never done, had no experience with, had financial consequences, and didn't really have a solution in place yet? How did you give yourself permission?
I was not in my head.
Okay.
Number one, I was in my body going, oh, sunshine. And I could feel the warmth. Like I was in my body. I was tasting fresh avocados. I was so awake in where this was going to take me that I just kind of didn't get caught up in that. And I also had a trust that I had this trust that came through. Okay, that's not necessarily tangible, though, is it?
Well, no.
But I was trusting this notion that was pulling me. So if I had a desire to be away and to serve my clients, then I know my desire is true. So I had to trust that what's true is true for me.
Okay. So, so there's a couple things there. So one is you were in your desire more than you were in your detractions and your stories. Brilliant. And so when we focus on what we want versus, and not just want, but what we really bring in.
It was soulfully aligned. Like it wasn't a to-do thing. Oh, do that, do that. It was coming soulfully, like truthfully. My divine design. That's why I use divine design. Because here's the piece. Not every woman is this way. So however it is that a woman is in her way of being in the world has to be honored and listened to and expressed her way, her way only.
I love that because that's not something that we give ourselves permission to be there's all this stuff now about you do you, but it's become this kind of snide cliche when really what it is how can we celebrate our unique path, our unique way of journeying through the world. So okay, part of it was you were pulled by desire. Part of it was you relaxed into the arms of trust. You were like, okay, this is me collaborating. I don't know if this is how you think of it, but collaborating with spirit or collaborating with the universe, or this desire came from somewhere, or even just, I heard you say, I'm not alone in this. There's got to be other women who have this desire. So you tapped into something
That was the
big.
key thing.
Okay.
Because I'll go on a beach by myself and meditate and dance and frolic under the sunset. The key piece was, I know so many women in the realms of my work longing for, just in a way to surrender from the hustle and grind of man mode, get her done, hustle, push, rigid, drive, do it this way and only this way, and allow a space. So I think that's a really big piece here, is to put yourself in a way that allows space. And nothing more sensuous and beauty than being seduced by nature. and being lit up by that.
And present to it. You have to be present to it. I've been in nature a lot of times and not had that experience because I wasn't home.
So I guide you through some awareness practices, some tactile ways of smelling, tasting, sipping,
being present,
being
sipping,
present.
especially
And
the
so,
sipping. I like the sipping
but
part.
that's where I use, you know, wine as the metaphor to wake up our senses.
Yeah. So I love the idea of the space, because again, that was something I was just talking with a client about, and not something that in this, you know, hustle and grind man mode, which is about drive, filling up your calendar, pushing, have to, shoulds. What else would you describe it as? The grind and hustle man mode.
There isn't space to take a pause, because as you said, everything's booked, it's rigid, it's go, it's get her done, it's calm. It needs, there's no place to be cherished in there. And the feminine needs to be cherished if she's in that essence. And women can be in different essence, but that feminine wants a space to be cherished, and we can give that to ourselves. There's no space in that world.
Yes.
No, respect me for my accomplishments.
Yes.
And remember in the 80s, women put on suits and ties to be like that, but we're not. We are different. And we're approaching life, and we can be more nurturing and allowing that space to nurture some of our desires. And so when we have that space, then like how you're saying that, you know, not everyone can just do that. With a little creative space, we start to nurture that little seedling. And that's the igniting of that desire, that wildness, that uniqueness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Was there anything else that helped you muster up the courage to make the leap? Oh, one of the things you said.
I owned my insanity.
Okay.
I owned it.
So what's that mean?
I don't know. I thought I'm nuts. Okay, I'm just gonna be nuts.
Okay, cool.
And that was me. Not everybody's like that.
Yes.
And I perhaps could have the polar opposite in my world that would be a bit more detailed orientated, but it was a leap.
Well, and part of what I hear in that is permission to not have to have approval. So owning
100%.
our insanity, owning our way of being is saying, and I'm not going to give all my power over there to that person's approval or disapproval.
It's the yes. And owning a yes from heaven to earth. I think heaven and earth are like my bookends.
Yeah.
And just like I'm a lightning rod for what's next to be expressed, and trusting I'm held between that energy of heaven and earth is the peace. And it's a practice, and it's an experimenting, because things haven't always been so easy and playful. And there's a big story behind all that that has been part of that I use as fuel to keep moving forward.
Okay, so we only have a few minutes left. I want to make sure they have places and ways to access you. But what, I wanted to come back to the other point that you said, which was powerful questions, because we were talking about exceptional questions create an exceptional life. No, extraordinary questions create an extraordinary results versus ordinary results. So one of the questions that you asked yourself is, what do I want? I want to be somewhere warm. And the next question you asked was, great, how do I make that happen? That question is the most powerful question that I've ever asked myself in my life. And it's how I've created 4 different kinds of businesses. You know, in Toronto, I wanted to have a marketing, well, I didn't know I wanted to have a marketing company. I wanted someone to pay me to put on events and have fun and play. And so how do I make that happen? Oh, well, I go out and talk to this person about that and create that. For you, it's like, I want to go to Mexico. I want to be somewhere warm and be beautiful. And I want to take my sisters with me to A, support it, and B, for me to support them. So that win-win of the bigger 100%. Cause, right? And so asking extraordinary questions leads to better results. Asking sucky questions leads to sucky results. So what's a couple of extraordinary questions you can leave them with? And tell them about your new thing that you're doing with people around extraordinary questions.
I'm going to maybe just leapfrog over the first request.
Okay, yeah.
And just say that we choose, we make a choice for ordinary or extraordinary. And the way that you are currently doing life right now, if it's not extraordinary, then you are parked in neutral over here in ordinary. And to get into an energy-rich state takes a decision, and it takes an awareness. And so when we lay out the desire, the piece I did was I was still and got the knowingness. So the more we practice allowing that space, the answers do come in. So that I've been practicing for years. I mean, I've been on a mountaintop, you know, with Buddhist monks in the jungle. Well, that's something you don't know about me.
There you go. See, I did not know that.
So there's ways in the way that you do it or I do it or have, where we can create that space to allow the information to come through. So if we ask ourselves something that's more extraordinary, it's going to take us in that direction. So ordinary might mean, well, what am I going to eat for breakfast tomorrow? And let's prepare it and let's get the food in there. It's ordinary. It's not going to change your life at all. It's just going to keep you the same. And that can be okay. But for many women, we just want more extraordinary vitality. So the question is, oh, okay, so what I've decided on leapfrog. I was studying with a very famous human behavioral expert. And he said the quality of your life depends on the questions you ask. So I started writing powerful questions. So for today's call, I just got this, again, idea, download that I'm going to invite a woman to give me a call. And we're going to have a session together, just a few words about her. And I'm going to pick out of my book of extraordinary questions, a question that could really serve her. Because that's different for each person. And somebody might be a really busy mom, a really busy family woman, and that's totally different than one training for the Olympics, or another one building her business, or another one busy with grandkids. So in there, I'm going to use my intuitive, my magic wand.
The magic.
And I am going to pull out a question, and I promise anyone who comes in for this free conversation will be blown away by what that question will be in alignment to serve and support you driving a more energy-rich experience in your life.
Cool. And you know, one of the wonderful things about being human beings is we cannot be asked a question without answering it, can we? See, and now so I know you just said you're right in your head because I asked you a question. Okay.
And it's like, oh, but it's just there to serve and support women, really finding that little seedling, because I'm not going to give the same question, as I said, to everybody. So I invite you to connect with me.
So how can they connect with you?
Well, I'm going to say in the chat, just write, count me in.
Okay. But where do they send it? What's your email or where do you want them to connect with you?
Well, it's
I am you or Facebook or
Facebook.
What?
It's so easy these days.
Okay.
And we're on Facebook. So at the little @ sign.
Yep.
Wild Woman's Journey.
Wow. Come on. Why is it out there? Woman's
ENS. ANS. Because it's her journey. That's my business page. Send me a message.
Okay.
And we're gonna have a free conversation and really inspire. And I'd love to hear how that ignites the energy for the group.
Okay.
Energy rich.
Okay. So to book your own private, complimentary.
Absolutely.
That's very generous.
I know.
Okay.
It's fun.
Okay. So complimentary. What are you gonna call it?
We're gonna call it extraordinary.
How about an extraordinary conversation?
Okay, I like that.
Extraordinary conversation, where you will get your question that will support you in asking that next deeper,
igniting, inspiring, creating. So my verbs are maybe little.
Yeah, all that.
So like there's no downloadable program and you have to enter your details. It's nothing. Let's chat. We'll do it through social media. And it's a ton of fun. And I just love supporting community to create greater conversation with each other.
Yes.
And even in the feed, women can share their question, perhaps what's coming up for them. Because it is all about an extraordinary life, an energy-rich life.
All right.
And one last piece. I haven't met a woman yet that isn't driven by contribution. We're here to contribute in our own ways. Family, business, whatever it is.
Right.
And that's where we can enhance that whole journey.
Cool. Love it. All right. Thank you for being here, sweetie. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Isn't this good? We get real hugs on this show.
Yeah, exactly. It's fun. So thank you for being here. And I really encourage you to reach out, not just for that conversation, although the extraordinary conversation will be fun and enlightening. But if you live in Calgary and you need some lovely nurturing for your body, you can go and see MaryFrances for cranial, sacral, body work and body healing and so forth. It's very intuitive, very aligned, very supportive and nurturing.
It's actually a very big first step
to
this conversation.
And if you're not in Calgary, but you would like to go away on a luxurious, yummy retreat where there's a lot of attention to immersing yourself in the experience of permission. Permission for delight, permission for pauses, to be with nature, to be with yourself, permission to enjoy your senses. If you would like some support with that, which many of us need, because many of us are really quite far away from that, that we need someone to just support us and kind of guide us down that path, then contact MaryFrances about her lovely retreats, and she will hold you in her lovely arms and give you that support with coming back home. So part of this, we'll want to leave you with this final thought of, part of wellness is, of course, living in our body. Part of coming back home to our body is the willingness to have pleasure and to follow those desires and to give ourselves that permission. Hi, Shauna Marie, welcome. To give ourselves that permission to come back home, to stop living from here up, to start embracing all of who we are, including our wonderful, juicy femininity, which you do so well, and to play with it.
Play in the pleasure of exploring.
Yeah.
And I just find that's why it's a journey. We're on the somewhere, and wherever you are, it's okay.
Yeah.
I'll reach you there.
Awesome. All right. Bye, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for watching this afterwards. And again, if you've got questions, MaryFrances is part of the community. Reach out, leave messages for her under this. It was a juicy live, Shauna Marie. Leave questions or comments if you want in the thread under this posting. And of course, you can watch it on the YouTube channel as well afterwards. But I highly encourage you, if you want to come back home to who you are and to your body, as I've been talking about, Pussy, a Reclamation, great book. And if you want to work with someone who lives and breathes that way of being, contact this woman.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody.